and my man, John Buckets. Hey, Buckets, how you doing, baby?
Ian Paul Joy, the Joy Boy IPJ. I am exhausted today. I am so freaking tired. And not because we had a tornado touchdown 5 miles outside my apartment, not because we had alarms going from 10 p.m. till 3 a.m. No, I'm exhausted because I couldn't sleep last night. I'm too excited. I'm too nervous. We got the big game today, baby, and I am ready to talk some footy with you.
Yeah, and of course, if you're watching this show on Saturday, John Bucketsheimer didn't mean to say last night. John Bucketsheimer is, of course, talking about Bayern Munich and their travels to Real Madrid. As we record the show, that game has not taken place. So if you're watching this on Sunday and we're still throwing that fucking link out at you, you know what Buckets is nervous about. Maybe he had nothing to be worried about. Maybe he had everything to be worried about. Only time will tell, and for everybody who's in the future, you already fucking know. Buckets, we have got a very heavy betting show today. Our show Stoppage Time is back in a very, very big and beautiful way. But today, let's chat. We're going to get more to the betting if that's okay with you. But before we get there, we have to start with the weekend review. Buckets, it has, of course, been brilliant. We've had a pretty good week once again. Let's run through the bets and what happened this past weekend. Not only on what our show called Stoppage Time, but also on our social medias.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get through these as quickly as we can, but we all know IPJ and me, it's not going to be very quick at all. We started with Chelsea versus Spurs, over 3.5 goals. Boo, boo. Bucket still can't get a Chelsea bet right to save his life, and Spurs were absolutely toothless in that match. Disgusting. Then Torino versus Bologna. Bologna draw no bet. When a game ends 0-0, nobody wins, but at least we got the push. Then we went to our EPL and Ligue parlay. Arsenal over 1.5 team total. Ding. Man City over 1.5 team total. Ding. Monaco over 1.5 team total. You could have laddered that one to 3 or 4 goals, and you still would have been fine. Then we went to Elfsborg versus Malmo. Malmo over 1.5 team total. If own goals would have counted, we would have cashed this bet, but unfortunately they did not. Boo. Followed by Salernitana versus Atalanta. Yay! Salernitana getting that first goal live. Both teams to score odds were minus 3,000 after that goal. Felt pretty good on that one, Ian, not gonna lie. And then, of course, we said that we didn't have a Dortmund bet here live on the show because we did not know how the first leg went at the time of recording last episode. But on social media, we took care of all of you. Dortmund to score in the second half at minus 110. And Ian, if I'm not mistaken, I think we did pretty well on that bet, right?
We did amazing on that bet, and I'm so fucking proud of you, baby. I am so fucking proud of you. What you have been doing on the socials, the reels, the TikToks, it's been impressive. I'm still looking for more fucking consistency, but at the same time, you're doing a beautiful job, and I just wanted to throw it out there because there are a lot of people out there who are watching our show Stoppage Time right now on the YouTube platforms who probably missed it. Maybe some people don't have social media. So here's Buckets' video ahead of that Borussia Dortmund massive second leg in Paris against PSG.
Yo, good morning, everyone. Buckets here with FC Stoppage Time, and I have a nice little extra wager for the Champions League matchup if anyone is interested. Whoops. Accidentally dropped this. Boom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm fucking talking about, Buckets. That's what I'm fucking talking about. Being creative, being yourself, doing something unusually different. And in the betting space, there's very few, if any, people who are doing it like you are doing. You are on your own fucking planet. And Tom from Pittsburgh stepped into the comments to let us know. He said, "You are so good at this game we call gambling." Buckets, you are good, and that was a great hit. Very creative, and I'm supposing that our loyal listeners could expect more things like that.
You absolutely can. I'm going to keep trying to get this creative juices flowing here, Ian. And if you do follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or even on Twitter, then you also cashed this past week, separate from the show, Luis Suarez anytime goal scorer at plus 130. And you also cashed Técnico Universitario versus Imbabura in the Ecuadorian Pro League. Both teams to score at minus 110, man. I'm just cashing tickets. I'll go wherever at this point. I don't care anymore. We're just having fun.
You're in a league of your own, brother. You know who's in a league of their own or a cup final of their own right now before we get to the second semifinal? It is, of course, the mighty Borussia Dortmund. I'm repping the jersey. It's very heavy on Yes, the Gelb Schwarz and the Yellow Blacks, Borussia Dortmund, are in the final of the Champions League after a 1-0 victory against Paris Saint-Germain in the second leg, thanks to a goal by Mats Hummels. 35-year-old World Cup winner Mats Hummels rising like a salmon at the back post to head it into the back of the net, while our producer Jeff was rather busy at the time, huge Borussia Dortmund fan, but apparently he had other business to attend to, so he unfortunately missed that goal. Only probably the greatest game in his club's history over fucking 30 years, and he missed it. Wonder what he was up to, Buckets. Maybe a little bit busy. 3 goals in the Bundesliga for Mats Hummels. That was his first Champions League goal since 2018 when he scored for Bayern Munich against Ajax Amsterdam. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 11 years since he scored a goal in the Champions League for Borussia Dortmund. Of course, he left the club, came back to the club. Absolutely ridiculous. Mats Hummels this year in the Champions League, Buckets, most duels 179, most clearances made 62, most tackles made 48, most interceptions 25. Absolutely insane statistics from the 35-year-old. And then I've got to say this, though. When it comes to knockout stages, he is the oldest German ever to score a goal in a UEFA Champions League knockout match. And he knocked the fuck out of Paris Saint-Germain, baby. Not many people made money on that fucking game, Buckets, but you did.
We absolutely did with that second half goal. Ian, I am not going to call anyone out, but looking at social media, everyone was on PSG, Mbappe goals, PSG team total, PSG to qualify, PSG to score in both halves, PSG to absolutely dominate that game. And they did dominate on everything except for goals. An absolute defensive masterclass out of Dortmund in this matchup. PSG, over the 2 legs in which they did not score, Ian, had an expected goals of 6.4 in those 2 games and ended with a goose egg. So that's just, that's tough.
I'm always enjoying the challenge of finding the odds as before a ball was kicked. And I did exactly that before I went on my show yesterday, Scoreline on CBS Sports Galazzo Network. I said to Buckets, hey, Buckets, what were the odds on Borussia Dortmund winning the competition before a ball was kicked? And then what were the odds after they got to the knockout stage? And you said?
Before a ball was kicked in the UCL, it was plus 6,200 for Dortmund to win the final. At the point of the round of 16, when they had already qualified past the group stage, plus 3,450. And Ian, I had a buddy on Twitter who cashed a ticket that he put after the round of 16. Dortmund just to make it to the final, not win, to make it to the final was plus 1,000 after the round. Nobody had faith in this Dortmund side, and yet here they are now traveling to Wembley.
Even Dortmund didn't have faith they were getting to the final, but your boy did, apparently. PSG attempted 30 shots in this game, which was absolutely crazy. They also hit the post 4 times in this game alone. They hit the post 6 times over 2 games, which is absolutely fucking insane. Jadon Sancho departs Manchester United because he didn't want to apologize to the boss. Jadon Sancho for Borussia Dortmund in a Champions League final. Oh my God, isn't life so sweet? Only 3 managers have ever taken Borussia Dortmund to a Champions League final. Ottmar Hitzfeld did it back in 1997. Of course, they won it. Jurgen Klopp took them there in 2013. It was at Wembley. They played Bayern Munich, which could potentially happen again. If you're watching this episode later on in the week, maybe you know we already are there. And then Edin Terzic did it, of course, now with this group's, of course, Borussia Dortmund, Gelb-Schwarzen. Now, this jersey is iconic to me. This yellow jersey, this creative jersey. This was my very good friend, Jovan Karofsky's jersey. He gifted this jersey to me when I departed Fox. I've been asking him for 5 fucking years, and he eventually gave it to me. It is a Champions League game-worn jersey from Jovan Karofsky. He won the Champions League with Ottmar Hitzfeld in 1997. Buckets, he was the first ever American to get a Champions League medal. Didn't play in the final, but he was there. The photographs are there for everyone to see that Jovan was a part of this group in a big way, and becoming the first American to win a Champions League was something pretty special to him. Thank you to Jovan. We love you. This show will never, ever let your name die. You are a fucking loyal listener for life. You are someone we love you. We appreciate you. Producer Jeff loves you like a son. He had to treat you sometimes like a son when we were in the Fox Sports studios. Welcome back into the studio. Ian Joy, Eric Ronaldo, and Jovan Karofsky with you. But at the same time, Buckets, I knew I had to wear this one because, of course, you were coming with your Bayern jersey today.
You knew it was coming. It had to happen, Ian. And as a Bayern Munich fan and someone who generally does not like anything to do with Borussia Dortmund, dude, that's a clean jersey. That is a sick-looking kit, and I got to give respect to one of the legends of the game. And I do believe Jeff has multiple pictures of him framed, right? That sounds right.
Yeah, gold frames in his bedroom, multiple pictures of Jovan Karofsky holding the Champions League trophy. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, bay for bay. My best bet for this weekend, Buckets.
Oh, yeah.
I was, of course, on the Manchester City against Wolves game. City on the money line were minus 1100. That was an easy cash, of course, for any muppet out there who was cashing tickets like that. Wolves were plus 1900, had no chance in this game. We, of course, broke it down for you on the last episode of Stoppage Time, and we did so again on social media before a ball was kicked. Erling Haaland, goals, goals, goals. We had multiple plays here for multiple units. To score first or last was minus 135. Ka-ching. Plus numbers for the rest of them. 2+ goals was plus 160, and 3+ goals was plus 550. We cashed all 3 of those tickets from the latest episode of Stoppage Time. It was an insane hit, and I even saw a few of our loyal listeners cashing 4 goals in that game. Erling Haaland, of course, is off and running. 36 goals across all competitions, 25 in the Premier League. Now he's leading the way for the Golden Boot. He is all-time 94 games, 88 goals at Manchester City, which is absolutely insane. The Etihad Stadium has now seen more Premier League hat-tricks scored than any other ground in the competition's history, being 30. Erling Haaland's treble, +1, was the 41st scored by Manchester City in the Premier League, with only Liverpool netting more in 42. Manchester City have now won 50 Premier League games by 4+ goals since Pep Guardiola took over in 2016. That is, of course, more than any other side. Buckets, do you want to hear the loyal listeners' reaction?
You have to after this. Let's hear it. Let's hear all of it.
We've got Connor jumping in and saying, "You beautiful bastards, I appreciate you all." A half trick. Because, of course, Buckets, what happened? Erling Haaland not only scored a hat-trick, he scored a hat-trick in how long?
I think it was in the first 45 minutes, right? If I'm not mistaken.
You're damn right. Scored the first one 12 minutes, then scored the last one in stoppage time of the first half. Yes, we jump ahead to Chris. He said, "Ian, your energy is infectious." You're fucking damn right. When Erling Haaland is scoring a hat trick and we're cashing plus 550 tickets. Money, Power, Respect jumped in and said, "My book had 3 goals at like plus 750. I couldn't pull the trigger. So I said, if he's looking at a 3 goals, I'll settle for 3 shots on target." He settled that ticket right there. That's pretty cool. Plus 140 for 3 shots on target. We've got Mexi back jumping in saying, "My man, just cashed the ladder with my boy Joy Paul Ian." We've got Brian Blade jumping in saying, "Awesome call, Joy Paul Ian. I laddered them with you." Ka-ching. Rob MD, not even a sweat on that ladder right there. And Hot Take Over Mitt said, "IPJ on an absolute heater." Buckets, your reaction to the loyal listeners and that wonderful fucking bet we cashed?
My reaction is actually a little funny story because I was texting IPJ during that game, and after Haaland scored the first goal, I texted Ian and I said, "Hey, I'll tweet out that Haaland scored. You cashed your first ticket. Like, good job, brother." And Ian said, "Don't fucking tweet that yet because I think he's going to get another this half." And so I said, "All right, Ian, getting a little cocky. He's feeling himself. That's okay. No worries." Scored the second one, and I said, "Ian, I'll go ahead and tweet that you had 2 winners." And Ian said, "Don't do it yet. He's going to get a third this half." And that's exactly what happened. All 3 cashes in the first 45 minutes, Ian. That's a thing of beauty. And I'm glad that we had so many listeners cash with us because I know that people were a little bit worried about Haaland's form recently. But it doesn't matter when he plays the Wolves, and you called it perfectly, man. That was awesome.
Thank you, brother. I learned from the best. But then we had somebody else jumping in the fucking comments. This fucking guy. Cameron jumped in the comments and he said,
"No, Cameron.
What a disappointing response. Oh well, no harm. Since there's no time to post your units, I'll spend my time elsewhere." Cameron obviously referring to the fact that we don't necessarily discuss units won or lost on our show. We did have DM jumping in and saying, "Oh, poor guy, I think you will be okay." And I think they will too. Appreciate you, DM. That was a pretty classy response right there. But Buckets, of course, it's pretty crazy. I'm going to keep reading out because there was a few people who jumped in asking for units won and lost. Tim jumped in and said, "Stoppage Time is the best show. You guys are great together, and producer Jeff never misses. Keep focusing on whatever process you guys do to find angles. Don't worry about tallying the wins or the losses. I can do the math myself. Hashtag have it." The duds jumped on.
The duds.
Love the show, and we'll keep watching no matter what. That being said, it would literally take 30 seconds to calculate the plus and minuses on units won or lost. You spent more time explaining why you don't show that than what it would take to calculate it. We had a response to Eric Gunnarsson, who apparently jumped in at him and said, I followed Buckets for a while now. He is never a shady guy, so I don't think that it's intentional hiding, to be honest with you. Just a lack of acknowledgement of how important providing that type of information is to people. Now, I'm going to be honest with everybody out there, including Cameron and including the duds, who have jumped in. Multiple people have done. A few have been disrespectful. I think there was Connor who was a bit disrespectful. Fuck him. But at the same time, the obsession with units won or lost, I don't really understand it. So, Buckets, you've been in the betting space a lot more than me. Like, what is the obsession with showing units won or lost? We just had a hell of a week. I don't want to flaunt it in your face that I've just won, like, I don't know, 20 fucking units this weekend.
I think, because I've been in this betting space a lot, and I've never been someone, honestly, I've been in this space for now almost 3 years, and I've never been the kind of guy to recap wins and losses. I mean, I will tell you if a bet wins, I will tell you if a bet losses, but as soon as I have a bet win or loss, I'm already looking for the next angle. I don't like getting focused on my really good days. I don't like getting focused on my really bad days, but I do think that some people have been hurt before, because this is kind of a shady space, and this is a space where a lot of people will give out a bunch of plays, they'll have a bad day, they'll delete tweets, they'll lie about their losses, they'll lie about stuff happening. And I think that because people have been hurt, especially because a lot of these people are paying for services. Like if I give you $100 a month to tail your plays and I lose, 10 units in that month, and then you go out and flaunt and say, hey, everyone, great month. We kicked ass. Haha. And I look and I can't find your losses anymore. I just think people have been hurt by this process before. And that's why you have people that are a little bit more upset when you don't see people tracking. But I've never tracked. And for me, it's never been an issue. But I get why people are upset. But Ian, that's just not how we've ever done things here, right?
No, listen, real quickly, obviously, when these messages were coming in, I did text you and I said, what has the units been won in the last couple of shows? Because we've been on a bit of a heater over the last couple of shows. Do you have an update as to where we're sitting right now on units won? I mean, just a ballpark. You don't have to be exact.
Yeah, so I'll actually go through the last 3 weeks because I think it's important to address the losses. 3 weeks ago, when I had my 1-7 show where I just did absolutely awful, we lost 5.8 units in that 1 week. The very next week, we were up 5.2 units. This week with Ian's ladder, we gained 6.1 units. That's why for me, I don't worry about tracking because I know long-term, I trust my process. We're going to be okay. And I don't like investing in, the energy it takes, but it's different for everyone.
I personally think that it doesn't really matter, my honest opinion, but it does to some people. So at some point, listen, we hear you, we respect you, and if at some point we can get to the wins or losses, then sure, we can talk about it. But I can guarantee you, on a big fucking network, no one's going to give a fuck about your wins or your losses. No one cares, man. Like maybe because you've got a big network or a big sponsor behind you, maybe people don't care as much. But me and Buckets are doing this out of the good of our heart. And if you have to leave and you have to go watch another show, please go ahead. Good luck with that. All I can say is that with Buckets, I tail every single one of his bets since the existence of our show. And I don't even want to know how far I'm up. I can only imagine I am up hundreds of units. And that is pretty crazy because we've been going now for almost 150 shows, which is absolutely insane. And Buckets is flying. He does lose. We do see that. We recognize that. He just said it. I lose too. But the average over the period of time is that you're going to end up way up month by month by month if you're following and betting responsibly. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think the loyal listeners care. Win, lose, or push. I think the loyal listeners tune into the next show for us to go, next, on to the next bet, baby. Win or lose, we don't fucking care. Let's go. What we got coming up next. Hey, but before we do get into the best bets, Buckets, I do want to get a Buckets dating update, please, because I went onto the social media worlds, Buckets, and I noticed this. At the top of the post, you said, Bumble. Don't know what the fuck that is. I feel like you've explained that before. My causes of communities add up to 3 causes close to your heart. Blah, blah, blah. You chose not to do that. Qualities I value. Choose up to 3 qualities you value in a person. You chose ambition, humor, and playfulness. Not bad. 3 very fucking 60 opinions right there and values. Prompts. Let people know what it's like to date you. You responded with, I get way too excited about seeing Dortmund second half goal priced at -110 this morning. I know PSG is good, but this is disrespectful line considering how informed Dortmund have been. dating update, please, Buckets.
I'll make sure that Jeff gets a screenshot of my Bumble profile up there to where I did say that I get way too excited about disrespectful Dortmund lines. Listen, Ian, my literal job is to spread the beautiful game to as many people as I can. And if I can find some wonderful ladies on Bumble that want to talk about the disrespectful Dortmund lines, I'm all for it, baby. But I will say, no big dating update yet, but that might change here in the next couple episodes.
On we go. It is time. You know it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get some best bets from our man, the blonde bombshell, the unicorn, the hottest better, not in that way, in the United States of America and potentially the world. It is John Buckets Eimer. Welcome back to Buckets Hits the Bets Big Time. Buckets, from you, I want 7 best bets. I'm looking for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and... oh, yeah, that's right. Wednesday. There are some fucking cracking games every single day. So let's make some motherfucking money. We begin with Thursday.
But before that, we begin with me telling you some bad news. I'm just getting ahead of this now. I couldn't find a single wager for Tuesday. So to make up for that, I have 2 wagers on Saturday. You're still getting your 7 best bets, but just know that Tuesday had nothing. But we're going to start with tomorrow, and we're going to start with that matchup in Europa League between Atalanta and Marseille. Yes, the same Atalanta that just conceded to Salernitana to help us cash a ticket this week. But I'm looking at an Atalanta side that rested players. I'm looking at an Atalanta side that rested Toon Koopmeiners, that rested Charles de Catalare, that is resting their guys, and the guys they aren't resting are in so good of form right now, it just doesn't matter. This Scamacca character, Ian, I know that you've been cashing on him all season long. Dude is on an absolute tear, and he might be the easiest anytime goal scoring bet you will ever place right now. But in this second leg, where the aggregate score is all tied up, I am looking at Atalanta to have a big win here. I'm on Atalanta over 1.5 team total at -125. Marseille desperately needed to play better at home. They needed a goal advantage at home because now they have to play an Atalanta side that chose to rest players because they were preparing for this matchup. Atalanta at home with the talent they have currently will be too much for Marseille. I will say I do think Atalanta win, but I think Atalanta over 1.5 team total against a defensively broken Marseille right now is an absurd line at -125, Ian.
Love the bet, tailing the bet, and I will say this, I am in love with Scamacca. He is a red-hot goal scorer. Didn't work out for him in the Premier League at West Ham United. Went back to Italy, started banging in the goals. He's been injured. At the same time, he's healthy, and when he's healthy, probably one of the best strikers in the fucking game right now. Buckets obviously had his both teams to score with Salernitana and Atalanta. I was tailing that bet, but I did it in an unusual way because I wanted to bet it live to see if I could get some value. I was on over 0.5 team total goals for Salernitana on that day. 10 minutes into the game, Buckets, I got it at +125. So I knew that if you were going to cash your ticket, I was going to cash mine. They cashed that ticket very quickly in that first half. I went up 1.4 units. And then we go to Gianluca Scamacca. Live betting him has been pretty good for me. Him to score the first goal for Atalanta in the game, not the first goal in the game. For Atalanta's first goal was +320. And then at halftime, I took Atalanta money line at +105. And I also took at halftime Scamacca anytime goal score at +145. Money to be made on Atalanta when you're live betting them. But for Buckets this week, it is getting ahead of the game. Let's go to Friday.
Friday, this is a very scary bet, but I'm betting on something that I love to bet on. I'm on France's Ligue in a matchup between Nice and Le Havre. And I'm taking both teams to score at +100, even money. And the reason this one is a little bit scary is because Nice actually has the best defensive unit in all of France. They have only conceded 25 goals over 31 matches. This is a team that is still fighting to try to finish in the top 4. They could still finish in a Europa position. There's technically a chance they could finish in Champions League position. So this team is motivated like none other. However, Le Havre is also motivated, and they're not motivated by Champions League play. They're motivated by relegation right now. This is a team that is 32 points in 32 matches. They are 15th on the table, only 3 points ahead of the relegation playoff spot that Metz currently resides in. But Le Havre is doing that thing that we've seen so many teams do when they are relegation bound. They are turning it on in the very last month. It might be too late, but they are playing like absolute madmen right now, and they are scoring goals against the best teams in France. This is the same Le Havre side that scored 3 against PSG 2 weeks ago, and last week scored 3 against Strasbourg. This is a team that know that they have 2 matches left, and they either have to win or at the very least get points out of Nice if they want to guarantee that they are not going to get relegated. Nice is the better club. Nice probably scores 2 or 3 here, But I don't think Nice can keep Le Havre from scoring right now, especially because Nice, this really, really good defensive unit, lately haven't been playing good defense. They conceded to Strasbourg, the team that Le Havre just beat 3-1, and they also had a 2-2 draw against Marseille the week before that. Nice is tired. They're worried. Both teams to score at plus 100, Ian. Not the sexiest bet, but for even money, it's definitely worth a shout for me.
You know, I always tell the Buckets Classic, Le Havre on the road this year, they're 16th in the table. They've played 16 games. They've lost only 6 of those 16 on the road. Pretty impressive. They have conceded 25, but they've only scored 16. They've won only 1. And as Buckets pointed out, it's so important for them to pick up 3 points. Real quickly, we jump back to the loyal listener comments because Eric Gunnarsson is fucking back. I'm still here, boys. Love the show, but the format needs some tweaking. Why does IPJ only have a pick or two a week? And Buckets have as many picks for Tuesday or Wednesday as for Saturday or Sunday. I'll listen and support no matter what. And I love all the other segments. What a surprise. Eric Gunnarsson wants some more fucking picks. Buckets, your thoughts on Eric Gunnarsson asking for more bets from IPJ?
I'll tell you what. Oh, for asking bets from you, listen, IPJ is a bit of an assassin. He finds that one play that he likes, and that is what he focuses on. Plus, IPJ is also working 90 hours a week in the Galazzo studio right now. So he is a busy, busy guy. I'm grateful for any wagers we can get from you, Ian.
I appreciate that, Buckets. Yes, I am a bit of a responsible bettor, as Buckets knows. I like to live bet. That's where I make my money. I enjoy live betting, and at some point, Stoppage Time will be live betting with you. But, of course, I always find those gems here or there, like the Erling Haaland play. And Eric Gunnarsson, if you're looking for a cheeky little play that I'm not talking about on the show, Erling Haaland against Fulham this week, the numbers are quite spicy. Feel free to go, similar to what we did last week. Buckets, let's go to Saturday.
Saturday, we're calling this the Eric Gunnarsson Saturday Plays because it's 2 bets on Saturday, not just 1. And we're going to the Premier League, and I'm paying homage to my favorite team in the entire Prem one last time this season. West Ham, that's not my favorite team, sorry, versus Luton Town. Yes, Luton Town, the boys are back. 36 games played, 49 goals scored, 78 goals conceded. The absolute goal wagon is currently probably getting relegated. They are currently 18th on the table, 3 points behind a Nottingham Forest side that won last week. Luton Town, this is the game. If you beat West Ham, you have a chance of staying in the Prem. If you lose to West Ham, odds are you boys are going home. Sorry, you had a hell of a season and you will be missed. But Ian, when you have a team like Luton Town that we know can score goals against the best team in England, the team that scored 2 against City, 2 against Newcastle, 2 against Brighton, this team that consistently can put up at least 2, playing a West Ham side that is beyond broken and have already checked out the season, you know that I had to go with the classic. Luton Town over 1.5 team total is plus 160. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but don't give me lines like that for a desperate Luton Town side. This is a team that can definitely pull off 2 and maybe 3 goals here, and I am backing Luton Town just one more time this season. My beautiful, beautiful boys, give us one more big cash ticket there at plus 160. For my first wager, do you want the second one or do you want to comment on Luton first?
No, go.
The second one I call the I'm sorry to all of the residents in Ohio play because I'm looking at the Hell is Real derby between Columbus Crew and Cincinnati. And the reason I'm apologizing is because I'm going to be at the game, which means that it's probably going to end 0-0. So if you do want to sprinkle a 0-0 correct score, that's plus 950 right now. I'm just throwing it out there. But I think the curse will finally be broken. I'm taking both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at plus 105. I'm looking at the Ohio Derby. I'm looking at teams that when they play, we usually see fireworks. We have seen 5 goals now in 3 of the last 5 matches that these two teams have played. I got to double check that. I might have that stat wrong, but I do see 2 teams that are consistently scoring a ton of goals and 2 teams that when they play each other, both teams to score and over tends to be the theme here. Columbus Crew have not been the most exciting team this year, but that's because they've been so busy with CONCACAF competitions that they are consistently having to rotate their squads. But you gotta believe that when they're playing their rival Cincinnati, another good offensive side, Ian, just once, I want to see an MLS game that I attend with goals. And I believe that finally happens in the Hell is Real, or Hell is Here, Hell is There, whatever it is, Hell Derby in Ohio. Boom!
I love that you're going to a derby you don't even know what it's called. That's fucking epic right there. Hell is real derby. It's a great game as well. Listen, love both of those bets. I'm going to tail it regardless because, I tail every single bet except for the ones that I completely disagree with. And I think you got a real good chance of hitting both of them. Major League Soccer, be very careful out there, everybody. Bet responsibly because there's only one MLS bettor that I love to tail blindly, and that is, of course, Hot Coco. You'll hear more from her later on in the show. Buckets, let's go to Sunday.
Sunday, we're going to a team that we've already bet on the show. We're looking at a Serie A play between Atalanta and Roma. And I'm playing this one a little bit differently because while I do believe that Atalanta may be the better side, Atalanta is also a very tired side. We've already talked about how they're having to play these extra fixtures. They're still in Europa League. They're still in the Coppa Italia. They're still fighting for a top 5 spot here in Italy. So this team is having to rotate their squad, but they can't really afford to rotate against Marseille in Europa, which means they're going to be on very tired legs when they play a Roma side that under De Zerbi, as we talked about, or De Rossi, as we talked about, has been very good. Not the most consistent team in recent form, but this is still the same Roma side that just beat or drew 1-1 to Juventus and 2-2 to Napoli. And frankly, I don't think Roma thinks they can beat Leverkusen. So this is a team that might already be focused on saying, hey, Europa might not be for us. Let's focus on getting back into your Europa spot or European spot here in Serie A play. I'm taking Roma double chance, Ian, at minus 125 because to me, for Roma to win or draw being playable against pretty much anyone right now in Italy is a disgusting line. I know that Atalanta is good, but as we've talked about, Atalanta is distracted, and sometimes they're a little bit inconsistent when they have multiple fixtures like they're currently having. Meanwhile, Roma, they might not win this game, but I don't care if they don't win this game. I just need them to draw, and since they are so desperate for points right now, I think that's a great possibility here.
Let me throw something else out at you. Please don't forget that the 5 places in the Italian league is guaranteed for Champions League. So these two teams are battling to finish in 5th because that guarantees them a Champions League spot. Of course, both of them still want to get their Champions League spot if they win the Europa League, but you get 5th spot in the Serie A table, you get an automatic place into the Champions League, and that 6th spot will be guaranteed for a Europa League as well. And there's no one that can catch them this weekend. Lazio, Rome are in 7th place on 56 points. Roma and Atalanta, as Buckets pointed out, on 60 points. This game is a fucking cup final because they know if they win this game, essentially they're securing a place in the Champions League regardless of what happens in Europa League as well, Buckets. So love the bet. Roma will fucking go for it. You best believe it. They're going to absolutely go for it. And Atalanta at home with Scamacca healthy, you best believe it. I'm going to fucking ladder those goal scorers as well. Let's go to Monday, baby.
Monday is a tough one. We're going to the Belgian Jupiler League in a matchup between Club Brugge and Union Saint-Gilloise. However, I'm going to say Gilloise. That sounds right to me.
You said it right the first time. Gilloise.
Gilloise. Let's go for Gilloise in this matchup. And let's not actually pick a winner, Ian. Let's just pick some mother goals here. Over 2.5 goals at minus 125. I don't care if Club Brugge wins. I don't care if Gilloise wins. All I care about is that we have 2 of the best attacks, not the 2 of the best attacks, the 2 best attacks in all of Belgium right now. Club Brugge, 80 goals over 37 games. Gilloise, 74 goals over 37 games. If you look at the recent form too, these are 2 teams where over is just standard at this point. Club Brugge's recent wins, 2-1 over Antwerp, a 3-2 loss to Fiorentina, 3-0 over Genk, 4-0 over Genk, 2-1 over Gilloise last time they played. These are 2 teams that really have decent defenses, but they're decent only when they play the bottom teams in Belgium. When these 2 teams clash, other big offensive giants, we usually see fireworks here. And so I'm trying not to overthink this one. I'm trying to find us a fun play where we can just say, hey, I don't care who wins, just give me goals. And that's exactly what I see in this Belgian clash.
2 of the best teams in Belgium, there's no doubt about it. 2 of the most successful teams in Belgium. Obviously, as we record the show, Club Brugge have got a big game against Fiorentina today, soon. So anything could happen between now and then. But they've been in pretty much great form recently. If I'm not mistaken, they have won, I think, 8 of their last 9 games, Club Brugge as well. So they're a team that obviously are in red-hot form. We'll see what happens to them in the Conference League. But love that game. I tailing that bet blindly because I don't really want to look too much into the information. You said you didn't have anything for Tuesday. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Can I throw something out at you and let me know what your feelings are about this one? On Tuesday, there is a big Premier League game coming up between Tottenham and Manchester City. It has massive implications on what will happen at the top of the table. Buckets, you know Tottenham are shipping goals like crazy right now. Buckets, you know Erling Haaland scoring goals like crazy right now. Buckets, you know that Manchester City are desperate to take all 3 points. But Ange Postecoglou at home, holy fucking shit. I'm looking for a plus number bet here, baby. And it is something to look at. I'm leaning towards this. This is not my best bet. This is something I'm leaning towards, Buckets, and I want your honest opinion. Both teams to score in the first half is plus 205.
I think it's brilliant. And I'm pissed at myself for not seeing this game was on Tuesday because I looked through all the slate and I couldn't find a Tuesday wager and I missed this. I love both teams to score here because looking at this matchup now and knowing what I know about both sides, this is a game where I am not kidding you. We could see 5 or 6 goals in this matchup, and it could be an absolute madhouse because Man City's fighting a title race where there's a chance where goal differential matters. So City needs to run up as many goals as they can, but Ange Postecoglou is a proud son of a gun. He knows what they're playing for right now, and he knows that they need to go for goals. You don't beat City. You don't get points off of City by playing defensively. I think both teams to score in the first half is a great bet. This could be one of those fun ones where you take both teams to score in both halves. And what I got to assume is close to plus 1,000 odds. I'm mad at myself for missing this one, so I do apologize, but absolutely love it. Go for goals here.
Let's post that all across our social medias because I feel like we're going to get goals in that game as well. We have got Spaghetti Meatballs jumping back in the loyal listener comments. He says, I appreciate you all raising the conversation on mental health. I found this show through Bucket Sportsline over a year ago, and it's refreshing for soccer life talk. I hope it hits with people to take care of yourself. I'm just coming from a guy who's had issues with gambling and such. Much love to you all. 100. That's from Spaghetti Meatballs right there, Buckets. We will never ever stop talking about the importance of taking care of your mental health, especially when we're providing picks and we're giving people advice about placing wagers. You got to bet responsibly.
You got to bet responsibly. And I saw another comment, and I apologize, I don't remember the name, but saying, hey, I had to take a week off from betting just to mentally reset. Nothing wrong with that ever. Please take that week off when you need it. Take the breaks. Make sure your mental health is always a priority. We're going to be here for you regardless of if you're betting or not. So we got your back.
Tell me you got a bet for Wednesday.
I do have a bet for Wednesday. Don't worry. I did not let everyone down. And Wednesday, I apologize because we might need to rename this show the Atalanta Show. I'm looking at that Coppa Italia final. I'm looking at the matchup between Atalanta and Juventus, and I'm looking at everything that we have talked about already. Atalanta on tired legs. Atalanta playing in multiple fixtures. Atalanta fighting for a top 5 spot now to make sure they guarantee Champions League. Atalanta rotating players. Atalanta is inconsistent and exhausted, but Atalanta also aren't Juventus. Juventus has 66 points right now. Juventus has locked up a top 5 spot. Juventus already guaranteed Champions League play in Serie A, which means Juventus can sit back. They can relax. They can have a little bevy here and there. They can rest for this Coppa Italia final, and they can be on much fresher legs, and they can be a much more dangerous on attack when we do get that Coppa Italia final. I'm taking Juventus to lift the cup. I don't care how it happens. I don't care if it happens in 90 minutes. I don't care if it happens in extra time. I don't care if it happens in penalties. The wager is just Juventus to lift the cup at minus 125, Ian. I think this Juventus side is the better of the two clubs. And more importantly, they're going to be on fresher legs of the two clubs. And I just think Juventus is going to win. Frankly, easy as that. Minus 125 for me is a must play.
In cup finals, anything can happen, but there's no doubt that Juventus certainly feel the pressure more than Atalanta do to lift the trophy. Atalanta, the way they're playing football right now with Scamacca fit and healthy, I don't know, man. This is a close call here. I'm going to probably live bet this one once again because that man, Scamacca, is involved. And when you've got Vlahovic on the other side and Juve desperate, who have been rested, where they're just chilling, fucking relaxing, watching all these European nights while Atalanta are sweating their nuts off, it could be an interesting tie. So you might be right, and I'm definitely going to tell you just because I'm feeling like there's not enough for me to not tell you. But Atalanta live might be the play for me, so I'm going to watch out for it. Buckets, you know it's time again. She is 5-3. Here is Hot Coco with this weekend's best Major League Soccer bet. Take it away, PJ.
What's up, everyone? I'm back with this week's MLS Pick of the Week. But before I get to my pick, I want to talk about some record-breaking news. And that is with Messi, of course. Last weekend, Inter Miami played New York Red Bulls, where Messi had 5 assists and 6 goal contributions, both of which happened in the second half, breaking 2 records in the MLS history, which leads me to this week's MLS Pick of the Week. This week, Miami are playing in Montreal, and I have Miami to win and over 1.5 total goals, which is plus 125. Another look I really like is Miami moneyline second half, and that is plus 120. This seems to be their half. It seems to be when they show up and score goals, so I really like this look as well. Another look you could do is Miami to score in both halves at plus 150. And if you follow me on X, you would have seen last weekend I had live tweeted during the Miami Red Bull game, Messi anytime goal score was plus 140. You would have seen that, you would have told me and cashed that ticket. So congrats to all of you that did. And I said to IBJ, I feel like this is a reoccurring theme. I feel like Miami tends to win from behind. So I went on to have a look. The last 5 wins they've had, they have won from behind. So for those of you that are feeling lucky, to win from behind for Miami is plus 600. Now, personally, I don't know if I'll put a full unit on it, but I'm definitely going to have some fun with it. So I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Have fun with your bets, bet responsibly, and we'll see you all soon.
Yes! Hot Coco back with some hot takes right there. And Buckets, I made her do that 2 or 3 times because at the end of that video, she kept on saying, Miami keep coming from behind. They're winning from coming from behind. It's like, you can't keep saying come from behind. The fucking loyal listeners are going to keep going crazy if you say come from behind. Change those words to win from behind. And she did exactly that, Buckets. 2 great tales right there. Inter Miami to win plus over 1.5. Inter Miami in the money line in the second half is plus 110. Plus numbers from Hot Coco, multiple looks right there. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I'm glad you made her retake that and say win from behind. Although if you didn't change that, this video would probably get 20,000 views. But that's fine. That's not how we want to do it. No, I think they're brilliant plays. I think it's a really, really good way to look at that game. And you can tell that Hot Coco is not only learning more about the betting space, but she's also learning how to promote herself. Talking about on X, I gave out Messi live, anytime goal scorer. I love seeing that because I commented on that and I said, absolutely tailing. She's not wrong. This Miami team has the attack to be down 1-0 at half and then score 6 goals in the second half like it's nothing. It's kind of like they need that first goal conceded to remind themselves, oh, wait, we got to try. Okay, let's go score goals. I think all of those takes are brilliant. And I will be tailing all 3 of those wagers, Ian.
Real quickly, you are going to the Major League Soccer game this weekend. And what are the odds of you going to a game that does not have a 0-0?
Man, well, this is the first game I'm going to be in the Nordeca as well. So I'll be with like behind the goal, all pumped up, getting rowdy, standing the whole time. I'll say it's probably even money. It's a pick 'em. It's plus 100 either way, but I'm begging either team. Cincy, if you want to score first, that's fine with me. I just want to see a goal, man. I want to celebrate.
I love to hear it, John Bucket Timer. And of course, it is time for the Joy Boy to step up once again with his best bet for this weekend. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Cue the bagpipes, producer Jeff. Cue the bagpipes. You know I'm going to take a fun bet this weekend. I want everybody to enjoy the moment because this game, it's going in with a little bit of heart, and I'm also wanting to place a wager on it because I want to sit back and take the moment in, and I want our loyal listeners to take the moment in. I am turning my best bet and my eyes and my attention to the old firm in the Scottish Premiership. It is, of course, Celtic against Rangers. Celtic on the money line, minus 110. Rangers on the money line, plus 260. My best bet for this weekend is both teams to score and no draw in the game. Currently sitting at plus 115. It was plus 120. The line has since moved. Allow me to set the stage for everybody out there, Buckets, because this is such a big game in the Scottish Premiership. It might even be the biggest old firm that I have seen in my lifetime. It's a huge game at the top of the table. Celtic top of the table, unbelievably so, on 84 points. They've won 26, they've drawn 6, they've lost 3, they've scored an impressive 85, they've conceded 27. At home, Celtic won 13, lost only 1, scored 45, conceded only 12. The biggest game in Scottish football and possibly the most feared rivalries in Scottish football and in European football in general. Rangers, they are second place in the table, 81 points, only 3 points behind Celtic in the table. That's why this game's so big. They've won 26, they've drawn 3, they've lost 6, they've scored an impressive 78 goals, they've conceded 25 goals. Rangers away from home, won 12, lost 3, scored 32, let in only 9 goals. Celtic are class at home. They've lost only 1. They've let in only 12. Rangers are good away from home. The best away defence in the whole of Scottish football. I am calling this a cup final league game. An unusual name, but a cup final league game. Why so? The last game was wild, by the way. I'm going to throw it out there. The last game ended 3-3 at Ibrox. It was pretty crazy. Here's some average numbers to break it down as to why I'm fucking going for this bet. The average number of goals in the meetings between Celtic and Rangers is currently sitting at 2.8. Celtic, they score 2.75 goals when they're playing at home, and Glasgow Rangers scores an average of 1.9 goals when they're playing away from home, which is absolutely insane. So as you can see, I'm going for goals in this game, and then I'm going to place my wager, sit back, relax, and enjoy the game, and may the best team win. Buck, is your thoughts?
My thoughts are that it's a Scottish Prem play, so you know damn well I'm tailing it, not just for a unit, but probably 2.5 on this one. Still being responsible, but this is also the kind of game to where I almost don't want to bet it because I just want to be able to sit back and enjoy and not care about the outcome. But if I'm ever betting this derby, I'm absolutely betting on goals. Both teams to score an over 2.5, both teams to score no draw, both teams to score an over 8.5. It doesn't matter to me. Just give me goals on this one, baby. I think the no draw is the best way to play it, so I will be tailing. But Ian, it's a Scottish Prem play. I don't have to do any thinking here. I just say thank you, IPJ, for the cash ticket, and I move on.
And you also don't care who wins. You don't give a shit who wins this game. Goals galore. That's all we're asking for is goals galore and one team to win. Both teams to score, one team to win. That's all we're caring about. That gives me the opportunity to place a wager on this, betting responsibly, sit back, relax, and enjoy the game. Hope that both teams score, hope that we win our ticket, but enjoy the game, enjoy the process. And if you're betting responsibly, no matter what happens, you're going to enjoy. But I'm on a bit of a fucking heater right now. This is taking a risk. But the reason why I'm putting it out there is because I want people to watch Scottish football and I want people to bet on this game with me and have fun. Recognize how important this game is for Scottish football. Recognize how big a game this is. It is, of course, on CBS Sports Network, if I'm not mistaken. And I want people to see how big this game really is. The last time we watched this game, there was a goal in 15 fucking seconds. And there was a goal in the last kick of the game in stoppage time to make it 3-3. Anything can happen in these games. It should be absolutely crazy, and I can't fucking wait for it. Buckets, this has been a great show, man.
Been a great show, and hey, it was less than 3 hours this time, which is pretty new for us. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, we're, trying to make it lighter on producer Jeff. He's had an exhausting week. He's been, very busy, missed Borussia Dortmund's, victory for an important reason. I'm sure he was up to no good, but an important reason. So I feel for him. But in some way, I feel a bit more for him because now he's got to be excruciatingly sitting waiting to see who they're going to play in the final. And then I can't even imagine. We're going to have to get some video footage of producer Jeff when he's watching that final with Borussia Dortmund in it, by the way.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to have to get video footage of that. And we need to get footage of why Jeff missed the first leg or missed that last match against PSG. I don't know why he missed that game, but I'm just hoping Jeff's okay there, buddy. Proud of you.
Real quickly before we get out of here, because we're wearing the Borussia Dortmund shirt, they are in the final of the Champions League. We've got to talk about Marco Reus real quickly. He has, of course, announced his decision to leave and part ways with the club after an incredible 12 years. He is in the final of a Champions League. That will be his last game for Borussia Dortmund. Buckets, just real quickly, you're a Bayern Munich fan, but you understand the importance of Marco Reus and what he's been for Borussia Dortmund.
I absolutely do, because I tweeted, congratulations, Marco Reus, hell of a season, hell of a career. And I had people being, Buckets, this feels sacrilegious. You're a Munich fan. How could you say that? You have to recognize the talent and players like that are so loyal to their badge and so loyal to their club, Ian. It is an absolute tremendous story. He has had an incredible run with Dortmund. And I don't hope he wins the UCL final, but I hope he sees success still and gets some good play time at Wembley there for his last match.
Yeah, he's been absolutely an iconic figure at Borussia Dortmund. He was fucking playing in Germany when I was there. He was playing for Rot-Weiss Aalen in the lower leagues, the Regional Ligue, when I was still playing before I left for Major League Soccer. Tells you how fucking old he is. But the iconic images of him celebrating in Paris after the game were absolutely brilliant. And he is exactly what Borussia Dortmund needs. They need iconic figures. This guy has seen some of the best players in world football come and go from his team. I mean, think of who he's played with. He's played with Aubameyang. He's played with Pulisic. He's played with Dembele. He's played with fucking Lewandowski. He's played with fucking the best players in world football. They've all come and gone, and yet Marco Reus has decided to stay at Borussia Dortmund for the whole of his career. and he will most likely now have a fucking statue built outside that stadium because he's so iconic, Buckets.
Yeah, especially if they do end up winning this UCL final. I mean, you could not write a better end to a career if you tried. Regardless of if they win or lose, though, hell of a career and hell of a ball player, Ian. You got to love to see it.
He did, of course, score last weekend, which was pretty impressive. I was super, super happy for him. He was born in Dortmund as well, and he was previously a part of the youth academy before he left to go away, play, and then come back. Spent some time at Gladbach before he did come back. But he scored his 169th goal at the weekend, and he also has 129 assists in 12 years at the club. So legendary status right there. Final game will be a Champions League final for Borussia Dortmund against whom? You guys will already know when you're watching this, but me and Buckets wait anxiously. Buckets, I appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend. Producer Jeff, have a great weekend. Enjoy. Congratulations to your Borussia Dortmund, who are in the Champions League final. Buckets is going incredibly heavy on Atalanta's games these weeks, so I'm excited because live tailing his bets has been a lot of fun around his plays, and especially when Scamacca plays, I'm making a lot of money. Just want to let everybody know St. Pauli did not achieve promotion in the derby last week. I was a little bit disappointed. They lost against Hamburg, but they can achieve promotion this weekend. So if you see me rocking the St. Pauli jersey next week, you know exactly why, because we'll be back in the Bundesliga. But just like Buckets is going to do in the Hell of Real Derby this week, please make sure you absolutely have it!